In 2001, a special train rolled out from platform 9 and 3/4, opening the doors to the magical wizarding world of Hogwarts. From that moment, Harry Potter was more than just a movie. It became a part of the childhood, memories, and youth of millions of viewers worldwide. More than 2 decades have passed. What has become of those who once wore Hogwarts robes? Some have become big stars, some have taken completely different paths, and some have gradually faded from the spotlight. Each fate carries stories that surprise and move us deeply. In today's video, let's turn back time, return to that magical world, and explore the ups and downs of the Harry Potter cast after the spotlight faded. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us and not miss the next videos. Turn on notifications so you're always the first to get new content. And finally, let me know in the comments, which character's life are you most curious about after Harry Potter? Stay until the end of the video, because the answer might really surprise you. Harry Melling's portrayal of Dudley Dursley is not simply that of a spoiled child, but rather an exaggerated example of excessive indulgence. A child who is always loud, selfish, believes everything revolves around him, and that anyone outside his comfort zone can be excluded or ignored. Born on March 13, 1989, in London, Harry Melling was only about 12 years old when he took on the role, a character that audiences found both funny and irritating. However, what's noteworthy is how he built Dudley beyond mere dislike. In every expression and action, Melling still evokes a characteristic, unsettling humor, making viewers gradually realize that behind the chaos lies a child who has never been taught about boundaries, responsibility, or empathy. And then, with subtle shifts in perspective, this character gradually becomes a clear reminder. Without over-dramatizing or dramatizing, Dudley's portrayal alone is enough to show how blind indulgence can subtly transform into unconscious indifference and cruelty. However, the most surprising thing isn't in the wizarding world, but in the journey behind the camera. Harry Melling has completely escaped Dudley's shadow, becoming a promising stage and film actor of his generation. By 2026, at age 37, he is clear proof that a childhood role isn't destiny, but merely a starting point, if one is brave enough to continue their journey in a different direction. Richard Griffiths gave Vernon Dursley a very unique image, not merely unpleasant, but possessing a weight that makes him unforgettable. A man constantly on edge, reacting as if the outside world were a threat that needed absolute control. This is what makes Vernon both irritating and possessing a dark, inseparable humor. Born on July 31, 1947, in Thornaby-on-Tees, Richard Griffiths was around 54 years old when Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released in 2001. With his distinctive, deep voice and masterful control of comedic rhythm, he made Vernon's outbursts both exaggerated and hauntingly realistic. Every shout, every disdainful glance contained an energy that made the audience both laugh and feel uneasy, a rare blend for an everyday character with such villainous qualities. But if you look deeper, Vernon was never just a simple comedic character. Behind that aggression lay fear. Fear of losing control, fear of being different, fear of a world that didn't operate according to the rules he believed in. And because of that, the more he tried to shut everything around him, the more Vernon trapped himself in a false sense of safety, an unsustainable illusion. Beyond his role in Harry Potter, Richard Griffiths was also highly regarded as a multifaceted stage and film actor, notable for his warmth and intelligence in real life. He passed away on March 28, 2013, at the age of 65, due to complications following heart surgery, leaving behind one of the most terrifying, authentic, and irreplaceable real-life villains in the film series. Derek Deadman's brief appearance as Tom, the bartender at the Leaky Cauldron, lasts only a few short moments but serves as the first gateway into the wizarding world. Without dramatic dialogue or striking action, his simplicity and naturalness make the scene memorable in a gentle way. Born on March 11, 1940, In Fulham, London, Derek Deadman brings a distinctly ordinary feel to the character of Tom amidst the magical setting. A calm gaze, a fleeting smile, as if he were already accustomed to the strange occurrences behind the doors of that old pub. In that brief moment, Tom is not simply a waiter, but also like the wizarding world's first greeting to Harry. Amidst tales of magic, curses, and fateful battles, it is small characters like Tom who contribute to the depth and authenticity of the entire world. Derek Deadman passed away on October 22, 2014, at the age of 74 due to complications related to diabetes. Despite his brief appearance, he left a lasting impression as one of the first gateways into the wizarding world for audiences. Professor Quirrell, portrayed by Ian Hart, embodies a quintessential image of persistent insecurity, always stammering, withdrawn, avoiding eye contact, as if he were insignificant in the world around him. This very vulnerability makes Quirrell one of the most easily underestimated characters at Hogwarts, a teacher whom no one suspected of concealing anything dangerous beneath his outward appearance. Born on October 8, 1964, in Liverpool, Ian Hart was approximately 37 years old when the first film was released in 2001. His strength lies in his ability to mislead the audience, transforming Quirrell into a nearly harmless figure, leaving no room for suspicion. And so, when the truth is revealed, this shift is chilling, all built upon an incredibly convincing image of vulnerability. Notably, Ian Hart also voiced Voldemort in the same film, creating a chilling contrast between the trembling figure and the terrifying entity. He later maintained a stable career in film, television, and theater. As of 2026, he will be 61 years old and still remembered by audiences as the first teacher at Hogwarts, a man whose outward anxiety inadvertently concealed a terrifying secret within. Warwick Davis appeared at Gringotts in heavy makeup, embodying a goblin banker, and despite playing only a supporting role, he played a crucial part in shaping how the wizarding world operates. Gringotts is not glamorous or soft-spoken, but rather an ancient, cold, and highly disciplined place where magic is not something to be admired but a strict system that must be absolutely obeyed. Born on February 3, 1970, in Epsom, Surrey, Warwick Davis was around 31 years old when the first film was released in 2001. His acting was quick but tightly controlled, creating the feeling that behind the bizarre appearance of the bank goblins lay an age-old order, more tightly controlled than even Hogwarts. In that space, power doesn't care who you are, only whether you follow the rules. After Harry Potter, Davis went on to appear in many other films, becoming one of the most familiar and versatile faces in the wizarding universe. As of 2026, he will be 56 years old and still widely loved by audiences in both film and television, especially in fantasy films. Not everyone can enter the wizarding world and instantly convince the audience that this is the man who possesses both the warmth of a mentor and the aura of a great wizard. Richard Harris achieved this from the very first moments he embodied Albus Dumbledore. In the ancient setting of Hogwarts, he presented a calm Dumbledore, one who didn't need loud words or ostentatious actions to assert his power. Instead, he displayed composure, a profound gaze, and a slow but weighty voice, enough to inspire absolute trust in anyone who encountered him. For Harry Potter, he was a guide. For the audience, he embodied wisdom, compassion, and hidden mysteries never before revealed. Richard Harris took on this role at the peak of his career, bringing a lifetime of experience into every gesture and every line of dialogue. He not only portrayed the character, but also breathed into it reflections on love, choice, and loss, making Dumbledore come alive and imbued with depth. Although his time in the role was short, the mark he left has become an irreplaceable part of the audience's memory. Richard Harris's portrayal of Dumbledore is therefore always remembered as an original icon, beautiful, quiet, and full of emotional weight. Minerva McGonagall was more than just a professor at Hogwarts. She was a symbol of strictness, discipline, and a quiet yet powerful presence, always there without needing to show off. Dame Maggie Smith breathed life into this character, making her one of the most memorable figures in the wizarding world, with just a cold gaze and a frown enough to instantly silence the entire classroom. From her first appearance in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Maggie Smith portrayed McGonagall as both stern and authoritative. She didn't need to raise her voice or use lengthy words to assert her authority. A small gesture, a decisive yet responsible look, was enough for viewers to understand that she was someone always ready to stand on the front lines, protecting her students from danger, no matter what she herself faced. It was an unassuming warmth, yet enduring and steadfast in its own unique way. Maggie Smith went on to make a strong impression with many other famous works, but for global audiences, she remains synonymous with the image of the Iron Lady of Hogwarts, the one who silently maintained order amidst chaos and protected an entire generation of young wizards. Her passing leaves a deep sense of loss, but the image of McGonagall that she created will live on as an inseparable part of the wizarding world. Daniel Radcliffe took on one of the most demanding teenage roles in film history, and somehow, he transformed it into a truly authentic and emotionally resonant journey. When the world first discovered Harry Potter, Radcliffe was only 12 years old, a boy standing in the midst of immense fame, yet not fully understanding its weight. Born on July 23, 1989, in London, he brought to Harry Potter not just the magical elements, but also a deeply human depth, a shy, lonely boy, yet striving to stand firm against a destiny he never chose. What made the role special was Radcliffe's naturalness and simplicity. He didn't portray Harry as a perfect hero, but allowed the character to tremble, be hurt, and grow authentically. Amidst the colorful wizarding world, his Harry remained a child learning to survive. As he entered adulthood, Radcliffe proactively broke free from the shadow of the boy who could talk to snakes, choosing bold, even unconventional, stage and film projects to establish himself. It was an unpredictable and challenging career path, but one that also demonstrated remarkable perseverance and effort. By 2026, he will be 36 years old, but for many viewers, whenever the melody of Hedwig's theme plays, Daniel Radcliffe will always be the same boy he was years ago, standing before a fateful journey he never chose. Fiona Shaw didn't simply embody Aunt Petunia Dudley. She infused the character with a unique, haunting quality, as if an unease had taken on a human form. Petunia isn't the typical fairy tale villain, but rather something colder, more commonplace, and therefore far more burdensome for the viewer. Born on July 10, 1958, in County Cork, Ireland, Fiona Shaw was around 43 years old when Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released in 2001. In her portrayal, Petunia is not just a strict aunt, but also embodies repressed jealousy, lingering insecurity, and unhealed emotional wounds. Seemingly small details, a hastily prepared meal, an averted gaze, or prolonged silences, become a subtle narrative about a woman trapped in the resentments of her past. Shaw also created a suffocating atmosphere in the Privet Drive house, making it feel less like a home and more like a space locked down by control and silence. Her stiff posture, sharp voice, and carefully chosen words to maintain distance from Harry all made Petunia unapproachable, yet far from simple. For deep within that harsh exterior lay a person who had been hurt and never truly overcome it. Later, Fiona Shaw continued to solidify her position on the international stage and television, but for many Harry Potter fans, she remains the one who transformed a seemingly simple character into a multi-layered and profound portrait. As of 2026, she will be 67 years old, and her portrayal of Petunia Dudley will remain one of the most complex and unforgettable images in the wizarding world. Verne Troyer's portrayal of Griphook is more than just a guide in Gringotts. It's like a gateway revealing the darker side of the wizarding world. In his sharply defined elf makeup, Griphook exudes an unreadable coldness, taciturn, precise in his actions, and almost completely devoid of emotion. This very dryness makes the journey into the depths of the vaults even more tense, as if each step is leading closer to a secret that shouldn't be revealed. Born on January 1, 1969, in Sturgis, Michigan, Verne Troyer was approximately 32 years old when Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released in 2001. He portrayed Griphook with a restrained yet effective manner, helping audiences realize that Gringotts was not just a place of magic, but also an ancient power structure where rules were more important than trust, and all safety came with strict conditions. Although he did not reprise the role in subsequent films, Troyer's image of Griphook remains a lasting impression, a reminder of the less-than-pure side of the wizarding world. There, magic was not just wands or spells, but a cold, ruthless system of power that operated without mercy. Later in life, Troyer experienced many personal upheavals and hardships. He died on April 21, 2018, at the age of 49, according to the medical autopsy report, due to suicide related to alcohol poisoning. John Hurt's portrayal of Ollivander was more than just a wand seller. It was the first moment Harry realized that the wizarding world wasn't a random adventure, but a predetermined journey. From their first meeting, Ollivander's gaze seemed to pierce through the boy, not to judge Harry Potter, but to sense something bigger within him. Born on January 22, 1940, in Chesterfield, John Hurt was around 61 years old when the first film was released in 2001. He brought a subtly peculiar quality to Ollivander, a soft, slow, almost whispering voice, yet each word carried the weight of a prophecy. The wand selection scene thus became one of the most memorable moments of the entire series, not because of the effects or magic, but because of the restrained, purposeful direction and the feeling that Harry had just stumbled upon a secret far beyond a child's imagination. Before Harry Potter, John Hurt was already a major name in British cinema, and although his appearance as Ollivander was brief, he left a profound mark. As of 2026, his image still lives on in the audience's memory whenever Diagon Alley appears, as a reminder that wands don't choose people randomly, but always have a reason behind them. He passed away on January 25, 2017, at the age of 77 after battling pancreatic cancer, but his deep, mysterious voice still resonates in the wizarding world. Molly Weasley, portrayed by Julie Walters, was one of the first characters to truly evoke a sense of family in the Harry Potter world that Harry experienced. She was busy, sometimes stern and grumpy, but beneath that was a very natural, unpretentious love, a kind of affection that needed no words but was always present when others needed it most. Born on February 22, 1950, in Birmingham, Julie Walters was around 51 years old when the first film was released in 2001. She breathed life into Molly, a mother who could scold, worry, and be busy with family life, and then immediately afterwards quietly care for and protect others as if by instinct. The moment at King's Cross Station, when Molly guides Harry through platform 9 3/4, became an emotional turning point. From that moment on, Molly Weasley ceased to be merely a supporting character and became a symbol of the concept of family. Not just the place where we are born, but also the place where we are welcomed and loved unconditionally. As of 2026, Julie Walters will be 76 years old, and Molly Weasley's image will continue to be seen as one of the warmest pillars of support in the entire Hogwarts world. Ginny Weasley's first appearance, portrayed by Bonnie Wright, was a fleeting moment, a hesitant wave, her eyes following the train as it left the station while she remained behind. Yet, that brief glimpse was enough to leave an impression of a character who would develop far more powerfully in the future. Born on February 17, 1991, in London, Bonnie Wright was only about 10 years old when the first film was released in 2001. In those few seconds at King's Cross Station, Ginny appeared shy yet possessed a unique radiance. Both fragile, and seemingly quietly accumulating something much greater within her. Significantly, that feeling of being left behind in that moment inadvertently became a crucial part of Ginny's later journey to adulthood. Besides acting, Bonnie Wright has also expanded her activities into directing, producing, and social projects. By 2026, she will be 35 years old, and that first wave will still be considered a small but memorable detail in the minds of her fans. Percy Weasley, as portrayed by Rankin, embodies an absolute belief in order and discipline, almost as if rules were the most important kind of magic in his world. Amidst the boisterous, free-spirited, and individualistic Weasley family, Percy stands out for his neatness, rigidity, and an unmistakable pride. Born on November 8, 1983, Rankin was around 17 years old when the first film was released in 2001. He created Percy with his perpetually upright posture, carefully guarded prefect badge, and confident voice, a man firmly convinced of his own righteousness. In the early stages, Percy was often seen as a humorous addition, a somewhat out-of-place older brother in a family that was both spontaneous and chaotic. However, even in those initial manifestations, one can discern the layers of personality that would gradually develop later: ambition, insecurity, and a need for validation within a family already filled with strong personalities. Rankin later continued his career in the entertainment industry and appeared at numerous events with fans. By 2026, he will be 42 years old, and Percy will still be an important piece in the Weasley family picture, showing that not everyone raised in a loving environment will follow the same path. Hermione Granger, as portrayed by Emma Watson, comes across as a living textbook, intelligent, sharp, and always ready to correct the world if it goes wrong. Born on April 15, 1990, in Paris, Emma Watson was only about 11 years old when she took on the role of the smartest witch of her generation, possessing an energy that was both powerful and vulnerable. From the very first scenes, Hermione is depicted as the embodiment of discipline and logical thinking, always adhering to the rules, always wanting everything to be right, and believing that knowledge is the key to survival in the wizarding world. However, hidden beneath that serious exterior is a very real fragility, a fear of not belonging anywhere. This is what makes Hermione's journey of development so convincing, as she gradually realizes that friendship and understanding are sometimes more important than perfection. Later, Emma Watson continued to forge her own path, balancing acting, studies, and social activities, somewhat reflecting the spirit of Hermione in real life. By 2026, she will be 35 years old and still considered an icon of intelligence, strength, and maturity for an entire generation of viewers. Robbie Coltrane's portrayal of Rubeus Hagrid is the first person Harry encounters in the wizarding world, and also the gateway to a feeling of warmth and security in a completely unfamiliar world. Born on March 30th, 1950, in Rutherglen, Scotland, he was approximately 51 years old when he brought the character of Hagrid to audiences in 2001, with an image that was both imposing and strangely friendly. Although Hagrid's appearance might make others hesitant due to his large size and rough demeanor, once he speaks, all barriers seem to disappear. Hidden beneath that exterior is genuine warmth, a humorous personality, and a gentle sadness, making Hagrid not just a benevolent giant, but also a crucial source of emotional support for Harry in a new and complex world. It was this role that made Robbie Coltrane an integral part of the memories of fans of the film series. Robbie Coltrane passed away on October 14, 2022, at the age of 72, leaving behind a cherished cinematic legacy and the image of Hagrid that lives on in the hearts of audiences, as the one who opened the doors of Hogwarts, welcoming Harry and the viewers onto that magical journey. And when the last train leaves platform 9 3/4, Hogwarts doesn't truly close. It simply quietly becomes a part of each of our memories. Magic doesn't just exist in wands or spells, but also in the people who once lived in that world, in their eyes, smiles, and the roles that accompanied us throughout our formative years. Some continue to shine on their own paths, some choose a quieter life, and some have left forever, but all have left irreplaceable marks. If you also grew up with Harry Potter, leave it in the comments and share the character you remember most. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next exciting cinematic journeys and behind-the-scenes stories. See you in the next video.